Hi, Coach here. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to mold a mouthguard. Now, the mouthguard that we have is an Adams mouthguard. And it's important to note that the purpose of this video is not to replace the instructions that come with your mouthguard, because every mouthguard will have specific instructions to it. It's instead to allow you to see the process firsthand and give you a comfort level if you're a little bit unsure of what it's like to take a mouthguard from boiling water and be placing it into the athlete's mouth. Now, the first step is to make sure that we have our setup all together. We've got the mouthguard, that we've got the instructions that we fully read, a pair of scissors if required, a container of cold water, and a pot for your boiling water. Now, the first step is to make sure that the container that you have for boiling water is going to have sufficient depth for the mouthguard. Our water is a little bit warm right now, so I'm not going to be dipping it into test, but I did that beforehand, and we can see that it will have sufficient depth for the mouthguard. If you're using too shallow a pot, you will run into the problem of not having enough depth and not fully submersing your mouthguard. Okay, now the first step that I like to do is to make sure that the mouthguard has got the proper length on it. These mouthguards are sort of cut as a one-size-fits-all. But we want to make sure if the mouthguard is too far, if it's going past the top teeth, it'll start rubbing on the athlete's mouth in their teeth in an awkward way, and you won't have a proper fit. It'll be uncomfortable for them to wear. Now you can kind of see in this mouthguard that there are notches to give you a little bit of a guide. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to first get this into the athlete's mouth and get them to bite down. You can work with me there. Okay, and bite down hard a little bit. Okay. And pull it out. We get kind of a sense of how far back the athlete's teeth are going. Now, it's my preference and recommendation to always cut the fit first before molding it. If you mold it and then cut it, you can run into the situation of the cut being a little bit sharp and it can be gouging at the back of the athlete's gums. If you cut it first, then the molding process will help soften up those cuts and you'll get a much better fit. So, I know that the athlete's teeth here are going back to this first notch, so I'm just going to give that a little bit of a cut. And I like to get a taper just like they have in the mouthguard and try to replicate that to the best that I can. And then the other side as well. So you can see now we have one that's more or less symmetrical in its cuts, but you can also see it's a little bit jagged around here, so that perhaps gives you an idea of why we want to do this before we boil the mouthguard. The instructions for this particular mouthguard call for us to place this mouthguard in the boiling water for 30 seconds, give it a 1-second dip in our cold water container, and then place it in the mouth and give it a nice form. The form occurs by biting on it, getting a good grip, and sucking out the excess liquid, and that will allow it to form nicely around the gums. Okay, now with the water at full boil, we're about to begin. It's going to call for 30 seconds, so I make sure I've got a timer ready for me here. Want to make sure that you don't get your hand too close to the water or the steam, because it will be a little bit warm. Okay, dip it in 1 second, and then into the athlete's mouth. Okay, you ready? Yeah, bite down. Too hot?
Way too hot.
Okay. Okay. And he's biting down and sucking on it at this time. And again, we time it for 30 seconds. And after that time, we'll put it back in the water and get a good final form on it. Okay, there you go. And there we have our newly formed mouthguard. Now, some people do like to take the straps off, but as a player and a coach, I've seen countless numbers of mouthguards left on the field, so that becomes an issue of preference, but safety, my preference always is to leave the strap on and just allow us to attach it to the football face mask. One final note to remember is if your child is particularly young and still at the age where they're losing teeth or having their adult ones come in, you may need to form a new mouth guard during the course of a season. So that's our video on how to form a mouth guard, and hope you enjoyed it. And remember to play hard and have fun.